I'm Dudley Goff. Welcome to this very, very, very special broadcast, Promise Christian Network. I knew it as Promise Christian University, giving you a little bit of history, because I was involved as the announcer for Promise Christian Live, which was produced by Promise Christian University. I also was tied in with them because of my relationship with Israel and Israel Food Outreach, which I'm the founder of, which provides dried soup mix and quilts for needy people in Israel. And this has been going on for about 5 years. So that gives you a little bit of history of what this is all about. There are things, though, that you don't see when you look at the broadcast, whether it's Promise Christian Life, Promise Christian University, or Promise Christian Network as it is now. That is what you see through the camera. What you don't see are behind-the-scenes activities. And I don't have the skill for this behind-the-scenes thing, and if it wasn't for the people who have those skills behind the scenes, exercising those skills, we would have nothing to offer you. So, with reluctance, we grabbed one of the guys who's behind the scenes, who's very intelligent, very skilled, and we pulled him fighting and kicking, not wanting to come to the cameras and all, and he's there with us. And it is Kevin. Kevin, what's your last name?
Ivers.
Kevin Ivers. Hey, nice meeting you. I have to realize that if it weren't for you, we wouldn't be operating. You know, it reminds me when I was in radio for many years ago. I was in sales, but I also was a broadcaster. I was a newscaster at that time. You also had disc jockeys and others there, but the disc jockeys, they were very, very touchy. So I, as a salesman, going out to sell advertising, they would say to me, Dudley, if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have anything to sell. You wouldn't be able to make a living, you know. I just say, well, yeah, I guess that's true, but if it weren't for us, you wouldn't be on the air here because we would have nothing to sell and you wouldn't be getting paid anything. So it took both, those up front and those behind. Mm-hmm. So, Kevin, you're one who is behind the scenes at Promise Christian Broadcasting Network.
Yes.
So, Kevin, first just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I moved out here. I'm from Kansas originally.
Okay.
I moved out here for film school back in 2006.
All right.
2005. Graduated Los Angeles Film School. It's a year-long program.
Mm-hmm.
So I graduated in 2006, and I jumped right into the film business,
mm-hmm.
getting work as a production designer on a small movie,
mm-hmm.
feature. And I was painting spaceships and building like prop guns and doing aliens and stuff like that as my first gig. So I really did jump right into it.
Sure.
And for the last 9 years now, I've been at that same studio painting spaceships and building prop guns and putting my artistic gifts towards film.
So how old are you? You started this at 12, 13 years old? No. Oh, you mentioned 10 years there.
Yeah, I think I moved out here when I was like 20, 21.
Is that right?
I'm 30 now.
You're 30 now?
Just turned 30 a couple months ago.
How about that? So you've started a very interesting life into broadcasting and the background and all of this. Mm-hmm. So give us a little more detail about it.
Okay. The broadcasting?
About the broadcasting and then the work that you do. And those, well, let's take them one at a time here. The supervisor here, you are currently the production supervisor of Promise Christian Network. So tell me what you do as the production supervisor.
As a supervisor, I wear many hats, and I will usually go wherever I'm told, so I can supervise and take care of what needs to be done. That can go anywhere from running cables to operating cameras or holding cue cards or stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, but I'm also in charge of doing some of the reservations for the more advanced things apart from just the studio.
Mhm.
I'll take care of like the equipment and doing specialty stuff. We're also going to try doing audio recording and audio rehearsals here that kind of just fill the studio space. But so I'll oversee those kinds of things. And I'll probably be here when we rent the studio out to another client.
So then what you're doing as a production supervisor, does that then transfer also into the courses that Promise Christian University will be providing in the way of filming and editing and making of sets and so forth?
I'm sure that it could. I don't know if we've gotten that far yet, but...
But in your mind, have you gotten that far?
I'm sure it could.
Yeah, good. Okay.
We have the
Someone
training.
needs to know it. There are people listening and watching this interview, and I'm sure they will take into account what you're envisioning ahead for yourself, right?
Yes. Well, if you want to make something, we can make it happen.
Yeah, all right.
If you can envision it, we can make it happen.
All right. All right. Another one, design. Number 2, set design. Okay, tell us about set design and start from scratch in designing a set. And I know there is some difference, or at least I assume there is some difference in designing a set for a local civic theater production and designing a set and what's required for TV productions. Explain.
Well, so like in theater production, if you design a set, you design it based on what the script says. You have a pre-written setup of how that's supposed to look. So you'll go from the ground up by designing the floor plan, where everything's going to be, where the actors have to be and interact with each other. On a TV set, that's a little bit different because usually the actors don't move that much unless you're shooting like a show. But unlike an interview program, your set's just backdrop.
Like we have here now.
Other flowers and stuff. So it's arranging and much less building. But you can go anywhere. If your client has an idea in mind for like a big extravagant set, if they have the money, we could, go design the floor plan, figure out where things need to be, where the speaker is going to be, where the talker is going to be, and arrange it so it is pleasing to the eye, but also at the same time helps show the interviewers taste and also the feel of the show. You get that from the set design. So,
Where do you get some of your inspiration? Do you sometimes watch Bobby Baker and their sets and how that's put together, and John Hagee and different other Christian broadcasting programs? Do you pick up ideas from them?
You can. I've seen a bunch of those different sets, and they all have different tastes, and it's all either really extravagant or can be very simple. And I don't know if I'd call it. Yeah, simple's good, and I don't know. I guess it just depends on the client, really. But yeah, I can pull ideas from if you have an inspiration or something. We can modify it so it still stays original to your idea. We don't want to copy anybody. That's not very nice. But
and can you do this on a real modest budget?
You can do it on just about any kind of budget, as long as you don't mind what it's made of. You can,
as long as it looks good.
Yeah, you can do construction paper and cardboard as long as it looks good.
Sure.
Or you could.
And you can do that?
Yeah, we can do that. Or you can go pay thousands of dollars. We can cast fiberglass or giant plastic latex stuff for you. So whatever you need.
So you can make a stone wall. It looked like a stone wall, but it isn't.
Oh, sure. Paper mache or, even cardboard and paper works too. But just depends on what you have.
Do you utilize some pictures? I'm thinking of the Middle East. I've been to Israel a number of times with Israel Food Outreaches. We take the soup mix over there for those needy people that need it. And I'm doing a lot of filming. I'm a videographer also. So I'm doing a lot of filming of how the soup mix is being served in a soup kitchen or the shut-ins, delivered to shut-ins. I'm interviewing people in many cases and all this, but I'm getting a lot of B footage. So of Jerusalem, the walls there of Jerusalem, or you go to the Dead Sea or Masada or any number of other places where I'm picking up good B footage. Now, can you take some of this B footage and utilize that in your set for?
Oh, yeah.
You can do that.
Like, I would suppose if we were setting up a set for you, if you were going to do an interview program or something, we could do like the horizon or this like a shot of the Dead Sea. We could make that in maybe like a silhouette background. So where it outlines what the tops of the city looks like. Or, you know, looking out over the Dead Sea or something, we could do like a giant panoramic or something like that. We could paint it, or I don't know. We could do just about anything you wanted.
And so you can use the picture. Now, does it video or just still shots?
Probably still shots. If you wanted to do video, we could totally throw up a monitor behind you and have video rolling. Could probably loop it or something, but that would be more of the production side.
And so that it would look like I was there on site.
Sure.
And so I could be in fact, you and I could be having our interview now, appearing to be in front of the old city wall.
We could green screen
playing
it.
in the background. Is that right?
That would do it too. If you wanted to be realistic or for visual, we could definitely jump over to the green screen and make that happen.
So explain the green screen. How does that work then?
Well, that's going to be less set design and more of the production side. That's a visual effect. I also do visual effects for the studio. It works to where it's green. They also use purple, but they've also used blue. We could key out the blue. Blue and green are the farthest from the skin color on the color spectrum. So that way,
I didn't know that.
If you have people standing against a blue or a green screen, if it's lit well enough, you can key that completely out. And you can put anything behind them.
Is that right?
So that's what they started with blue, they moved to green, and I saw George Lucas was using purple at one point. So they all work for whatever color is not in your main frame. If I was wearing a blue shirt next to this blue background and we keyed it out, my head and my arms would be floating around.
I see.
So, you try not to dress to the color of the screen, but that's pretty much how it works.
Do you learn most of this by experience, or do you get most of it in the classroom?
You can get it in the classroom, but if you don't learn it by experience, then it's really hard to troubleshoot when something goes wrong. The thing that I've found is if you have the experience, then when it goes wrong and doesn't work, you can figure out how to go get around it and fix it. Without that experience, if something breaks, you don't know what to do, and then you're stuck. So I feel you really need the experience. Internships or what else do they call those? Just working as much as you can. Apprenticing, there you go. That's kind of what I did when I first moved out here. For that first year that I was on that feature, I worked entirely for free.
Oh, you did?
I got food and stuff.
Yeah.
They fed us, but I worked entirely for free for the first year. Then they brought me back on that second year when we started doing more TV shows and stuff. And I got paid pretty good.
Well, in talking to Mike and Adele McKinney and getting their feel and their appreciation for you, I hope I'm not speaking out of line, but I get the impression that it might be that you would get involved with the teaching, the book work, and all that of having to do with the design and production and all of this for Promise Christian University. Am I out of line on this?
I don't know. I haven't quite been asked yet, but
okay. Well,
I guess if I was propositioned, then I probably could.
You probably could, yeah.
I have the ability and know-how if I could.
Okay. But you would not be satisfied with them just learning in the classroom from book work, from your up front of a class, explaining the whole thing. That wouldn't be enough. You
Not
then
for
would
them to
have
learn
to
about
take
it.
them for the apprentice thing. I mean, enough for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, they could not, from what they would learn from you in the classroom, could not really go out and do what would be expected of them without having some tutoring, some help, and all of this out in the field.
Right.
And that you could provide also then.
Sure,
right?
Yeah. We definitely have a volunteer program here at the studio that we're going to try and implement pretty soon. I have a couple of friends who are already interested. We're going to actually bring people on board to help us shoot these programs, but that's the real hands-on experience that you're going to get that you need to actually be able to do well in the
So that's
field.
one reason for this studio then, so that they can have on-hands experience for all of these things that you're in charge of now.
Yeah. It's really helpful, I think, just to get out there and do things. It's like a lot of people I've met a lot of people that I've met in Hollywood just love to talk about how they have these grand ideas
Mm-hmm.
and all these awesome things they want to do, but they never actually do them.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I like to push on people learning to do film and people just trying to get in the industry is just do things.
Yeah.
If you don't ever do anything, you're not going to get the experience. You're not going to have anything to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can talk all you want, but until you do something, nothing's actually going to happen.
So what can they do on their own just before they even get involved here? You're before a class, and you're giving out assignments, and this is your assignment for the weekend. I want you students to do this and this and this. What kind of an assignment, a homework assignment, would you be giving them?
I would go home and see if your favorite movie has a behind the scenes on it. If it has like a behind the scenes reel or outtakes or something, watch that and watch what everybody around the actor's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And find your field, find your interest, figure out what you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Because the production side of it is way different from the directing side. The directing side is way different from the effects side. The effects side is way different from the lighting side. All those things are important, but they all have different jobs that they have to focus on. So to get an idea of what you're looking for, look for those people in the behind the scenes of the movies you're watching now to see what they do. Also, there's the internet. You can go just look that stuff up.
Sure, yeah. So then you can have students of varying interest, varying directions that they want to go, different ones, and yet all of them can benefit by the classroom experience. So one sort of bounces off the other, right?
Yeah. It would be such the case that, like, my wife is a piano teacher. I'm married for 2 years now.
Oh, okay.
And,
Congratulations,
thank
kids.
you. No, not yet.
No congratulations there then.
We're both very hard workers. She has a huge piano business. She's got two teachers under her that she employs, and 60-some students plus 20 or 30 to those other teachers. So she has the model where she has all these kids for one piano recital. They're all focused on the piano, but they all have different learning styles. And so I think my classroom experience would have to be the same way, is where in the class we can all learn together, but you have to go off on your own and practice your own individual thing. Otherwise, you're not going to get good at it.
So that would be part of their weekend assignment. And so they come back to you with what?
Hopefully experience.
How would you grade them?
I'd probably have them tell me what they learned. Or write it down or something. I don't know. I was never much of a writer in school either, but I write scripts now, so I'm more of a writer now than I was then.
Yeah.
But I'd probably have them document their experience somehow to where they could relate it back to me.
In this kind of situation, you probably would not be thinking of grade A, I got an A minus or a C plus. I mean, none of that.
I don't think it'd work that way.
Yeah, that's out the picture.
I think that's a big problem with a lot of the schools too. Like in high school and stuff, in art, we got graded that way, and it was really weird because we're being graded on what the teacher thought of our artwork instead of what we or other people thought of our artwork. So it's really hard, I think, to go to like film and art, go to school for film and art, because if you're getting graded on what the teacher thinks is cool, that may not be a very good way of, if you didn't do well in film school or art school, that does not mean you're not going to do well in the actual field. So I think you just have to find your niche and be good at it.
I had an experience a number of years ago when I was in radio dealing with advertising, with production, but advertising, we included newspaper with it. Also TV. At that time, I really didn't know much about TV at all. But with my class, I was teaching the basics of all of this. But I couldn't grade A, B, C, D, that kind of thing. I then, on individuals and as a group, you didn't use the curve in grading, But where this student was and where he is now, that would determine the grade. Someone else that was almost up there, but doesn't go much higher, they wouldn't get as good a grade as the person's improvement that's down low here, coming up to that standard. I don't know to what degree that would even work in what you would be doing here.
If you could see acceleration in students, then
So that's your measurement,
I think
acceleration.
that would be a good way to measure them.
Yeah.
I've never really given that much thought to teaching. I've entertained the thought before. I've got friends who work at the college that I went to back in Kansas, and one of my friends is in the theater department now, and he's like, "Oh, we should totally do like a media offshoot somehow, and try and figure out a way we can do more media in school." And he's building a great program there. I'm really proud of what he's done so far, but they're still working on it. So
I want to change direction a little bit here now. Promise Christian University, Promise Christian TV Network, Promise Christian Live. See where the emphasis is?
yes.
Where are you from this standpoint? You're not educating people to go into secular TV, are you? I mean, that's not your main emphasis.
It's not my main emphasis.
That would not be, and as a part of Promise Christian University, it would be with the idea in mind of those students that come here and are taught by you. It's how they might use that teaching to further their Christian activities, their Christian mission, okay? Give me a little bit of background. We don't have much time left, but give me a little bit of background on you from a Christian standpoint, and therefore your tie-in with Promise Christian University.
Well, I grew up in the church. My family was always involved musically with the church. My mom was a piano teacher as well, and she taught vocal and actually played the piano for our church for a while. And my dad was a band teacher. He also works with computers and stuff for the school district, but he would also lead worship at church and would take over. He actually leads worship at a church he's at now. So I had a great roadmap to where I was looking as a very young Christian, where I was supposed to go. And I guess teaching has always been in that destiny, I guess you would call it. I'm not sure. But my Christian background has always been really strong. I've always tried to be heavily involved in the church. The church that I attend now, One Voice Church, we used to meet at Britt's Pub down on Colorado. I think it's still Britt's Pub. Somebody else bought it, though, and we had to move out. So we moved to the dance studio. So we were over at the Pasadena, I forget what it was called, the dance rehearsal, and they moved, and we moved with them, and then we couldn't we started not to be able to afford that anymore. So we moved into a house church. We moved from there to the Pasadena Music Conservatory. So we met in a pub, a dance hall, all the things you wouldn't think would apply for Christians. And then we found the conservatory, which we've been meeting there for a couple of years, and now we're moving back into a house church medium because our numbers have kind of grown. We've married people off, we've sent people off to do school and stuff like that. And so, but back when we were meeting in the bigger places, we had a big worship team, and I would always be on the drums for the worship team. That's how I met my wife. She played piano in church, and I played drums, and so we'd always be heavily involved with whatever activities they were trying to do. So music, not so much now since we're in the house church. It's kind of dwindled down to a guitar or a few hymns here and there. But
well, as a 30-year-old Christian, as many other 30-year-old Christians, at some point you feel like you're asking God to show you the mission that he wants to put you on. Dr. Mike McKinney had this when he was younger, and God gave him a mission, but it was out in the field in evangelism and all of that. Do you see this working with Promise Christian University and in the capacity of production, TV production and all that? Do you see that as a possible mission for Kevin, what's your last name here?
Ivers.
Ivers. I'm sorry.
Right.
For Kevin Ivers.
Took
Do you
me a couple
see that
times,
as a mission that God could be giving you?
I could
An
see
assignment?
Sure. I guess when I found the studio, it was kind of an assignment as well. Because I've always been looking for Christians in the industry, and being just out of film school and just out of kind of a fish out of water, moving from Kansas to California, I didn't really have that many Christian resources.
Yeah.
I think connecting with this TV studio has opened up a network for me for being
That's
able to work
tremendous.
with more Christians.
That's tremendous.
So I
Kevin,
can definitely see that it's possible.
absolutely. It's neat talking to you about this, and now even coming to the bottom line that your mission, your assignment from God can very well be what you're involved in right now in TV production, Promise Christian Network, that is all Christian oriented. And I have to say to those of you who are viewing, as you listen to Kevin and seeing where he's coming from and accepting the assignment that God has given him, God also has an assignment for you. Now, exactly what it is, I don't know, but you pray about it. You ask him to show you your assignment. And it may be that your assignment would result in your contacting Promise Christian University and the courses they provide in this kind of ministry. So I just ask you to pray about it and ask God to show you exactly where you're to go. And if Promise Christian University can be a part of that, can help facilitate it for you, it'd be great. God bless you. I'm glad you were with us today listening. I'm Dudley Goff, Israel Food Outreach, Promise Christian University, Promise Christian Life, Promise Christian Network, all of it in one. God bless you. You have a very, very good day.